After the 4 stages of the regular season and 3 weeks of play-in and playoff action, we're finally down to the last 2 remaining teams that will face off in the grand finals being held at Philadelphia this upcoming weekend, the Vancouver Titans and the San Francisco Shock. Today, as part of my build-up and preview towards their contest on Sunday, I want to discuss how this rivalry between these sides has developed over the course of this season, briefly looking back at their previous matchups and seeing if perhaps the script is pointing to one outcome or another. Our story begins very early into the season during the second week of Stage 1. Vancouver had impressed many in their first week and a half, winning their opening 2 matches, seemingly living up to the high expectations that analysts and fans alike had had of the players after their successful runaway in Contender's career, as well as defeating the Korean Overwatch World Cup squad in a show match. San Francisco, meanwhile, had also been very heavily tipped for success in the second season of the Overwatch League, with constant improvement throughout Season 1 as the young talents of Super and Sinatra came of age, as well as the team bringing in Coach Krusty, who had masterminded Boston's own success that season as well. Week 1 saw them make a positive start going 1-1, with their loss coming to the LA Gladiators in an unfavourable stylistic matchup at the time. Still, heading into this heavily anticipated match that would end Week 2, people were hoping we'd see a fantastic affair that would highlight the quality of both of these teams, even if the Titans still came in as favourites. As we look this far back, almost 6 months ago, we must remember we were still firmly in the age of GOATs, and Vancouver were universally described as the best team in the world within this meta. Proof of this was shown off in the opening map on Busan, where Vancouver held the initiative and convincingly took both rounds on the back of stronger coordination with their 3-3 composition, as well as a more efficient usage of their ultimates, which gave them 2 quick rounds and an early 1-0 lead in the series. Map 2 on King's Row, however, saw the Shock come back much stronger and demonstrate how effective their aggressive nature could be, with Sinatra and Super starting to get a bit of momentum, as well as their rookie Violet, who was starting to get more involved himself on Zenyatta. They were able to complete the map in overtime, and subsequently put the Titans in a similar position, as they themselves could only complete the map in overtime as well, meaning that we'd get a second round of attacks for both sides, with only 1 minute in the time bank. The main issue for San Francisco, though, was that whilst they could gain a lot of momentum with his aggressive style, Vancouver were more than talented enough to punish them if they overextended and pushed too far forward, with Sinatra and Violet the main culprits of this, which compromised the ends of both their first attack and defence. The Shock went first in the second round of attacks, and impressively pushed all the way to the end of the second section, before they eventually fell. This still left the Titans with a lot to do. Under pressure, this is when they showed their true quality and class. Slime showed off his impact on Lucio by aggressively getting the first kill, as a high-energy Xiaomin Su continued to pump out heaps of damage. It came down to one final teamfight, where the Mad Lab Bumper hit his signature massive shatter that combined with a Jano Diva Bomb for a 4K to end up wiping the Shock in a huge play to go up 2-0 in the series. This fantastic map told you everything you needed to know about the strength of these two teams at this current but early stage in the Overwatch League Season 2. Both had brilliant talents across each of the roles, with no player really standing out as a major weakness, instead coming up with important plays. It was just that at this moment in time, the coordination, teamwork and clutchness of the Titans was superior to San Francisco, which made them the undoubted best team in the league. The second half of this series in a way repeated the first, with Vancouver dominating the contest and wrapping up the win at 3-0 by being victorious in Volskaya after holding the Shock to the second point, thanks to a late switch by Haxon to Doomfist. Although had Bumper not hilariously killed himself by charging off the map to stagger a Baby Diva, would have likely been a first point hold. The final map on Route 66 and almost exactly copied King's Row, with both teams finishing the map in overtime, and again San Francisco made it to the second section on their second attack. This time, however, in a massive confidence booster, a Nevic's Diva Bomb helped the Shock to kill most of the Titans and win the map, taking a consolation point in a 3-1 defeat. Of course, this was just our first taste of this brilliant head-to-head, but you could just sense that these two teams were the two strongest that we had in the league in Stage 1, and that somehow they'd find a way to come up against one another before the other regular season contest, the end of Stage 4. We wouldn't have to wait long, as these two squads faced off face-to-face in the Stage 1 playoff finals. To provide some context, the Titans had continued their unbeaten run and looked to win their first major achievement in the Overwatch League, whereas the Shock had just snuck into the playoffs with a former 3-stage record, but hadn't hesitated to take their opportunity and convincingly push their way through to the final, showing off just how much they'd developed and improved in just a few weeks. This was emphatically demonstrated in the first map on the pool, where they came back from 1 round down to take back-to-back rounds and win the opening map, with Super in particular playing amazingly, producing a bumper-esque shatter to turn their momentum on the third round to help them take a 1-0 lead in the series. However, as this map progressed, one thing started to become noticeable, which was when the Titans won maps such as on Mapton and Barney, they would do so quite convincingly, not letting the Shock even capture the first point here, whereas by contrast, San Francisco were fighting tooth and nail for each one of their victories, such as on Anubis, where a massive ultimate plays from Super and Choi Hyobin proved to make the difference, with a clutch 3K bomb by the latter giving the Shock the map and a 2-1 lead in the series. Dorado again saw Vancouver level the series after a dominant defensive hold at the end of the second section, but in the crucial fifth map on Ilios, it was San Francisco who just edged it out, with the round tied at 1-1 and percentage for both sides reaching the 90s to go up 3-2 in the series, putting them on match point. King's Row would be the sixth map, and again the momentum seemed to swing back to the Titans, who stopped the Shock from completing the map, and after Haxel cancelled out a Moth sound barrier with a Brigstone, they rolled on through the rest of their attack to tie the series yet again, now at 3-all, sending us to a deciding 7th map on Rialto. This map pretty much perfectly summed up the series we've been watching. The Shock attacked first and looked really solid, with Super continuing to win his battle against Bumper in the Reinhardt head-to-head, as they finished with a minute in the time bank. But once again, when the pressure was at its highest, somehow Vancouver managed to dig deep and pull off something incredible, almost miraculous. They marched through the map with ease, winning every teamfight, resulting in a world record finish of just under 4 minutes. Although he could still attack again, San Francisco looked mentally defeated, failing to make it past the first checkpoint, but to their credit, they defended with heart. Yet despite losing the battle all day long to Super, Bumper would not be silenced any longer, and hit a huge fight-winning shatter to win the Titans the map, and thus a Stage 1 final 4-3, one of the greatest sets of Overwatch played, definitely within the Overwatch League at least. San Francisco had given everything, but at the end of the day, the unbeaten Titans were just too strong, and had firmly imprinted their credentials on the league by owning Stage 1 and the GOATS meta. After their heartbreak in Stage 1, the Shock were more than determined to get their revenge, and they prepared for this by destroying their competition in Stage 2, completing a golden stage by winning every map of their 7 matches to top the stage standings, just ahead of Vancouver, who themselves had continued their unbeaten run. A rematch showdown in the stage final seemed inevitable, and this proved to be the case as the teams convincingly won their playoff quarter and semi-finals to book part 3 of the saga for the Stage 2 title. The opening map on Lijiang at first seemed to be playing out in parallel to the Stage 1 final, with Vancouver getting the best of the opening engagements. However, it was not long before we saw one of the major adjustments the Shock had been making between Stages 1 and 2. Yes, they still like to play aggressive and gain the initiative, but unlike before, there was a general sense of greater patience, especially when it came to the usage of ultimates, which in the clutch teamfights now allowed San Francisco to come out on top more often, and take 2 back-to-back rounds to take the opening control map. This coordination and momentum continued into King's Row, which had now become a real battleground for these two sides in their series, as San Francisco stormed through their attack to finish with 3 minutes 20 in the time bank. However, Bumper now started to find his groove with some big shatters, which saw the Titans' own attack pushed to the finish in a similar time, before they then punished some poor ultimate usage by the Shock to make it to the 3rd section of the map on their 2nd attack. In reply, San Francisco could not match him, with Yeoman-Su getting greater value out of his gravitons, as the series became tied up at 1-1. Paris then became a nightmare for San Francisco, as they scuffed their attack, wasting key ultimates en route to being held at point A. With just a teamfight when needed, Vancouver came out on their quad DPS comp, with Bumper on Hanzo, and took the percentage with ease after Haxel picked up some early kills on Farah, as they took the lead again 2-1 in the series. Yet despite taking the lead, you could just get the sense that this confident play, perhaps cocky from the Titans, somewhat angered their opponents, and spurred them on to make an immediate response. Both teams would complete Gibraltar first time around, but on this occasion it would be the Shock who came out on top in the second round of attacks, with Sinatra having a massive impact on Zarya, backed up especially by Moss Lucia and Violet Zen, which would be very impactful in focusing down targets alongside him. Again with the match tied, San Francisco came out firing on Aces, taking both rounds after clutch stalls and massive late teamfight wins to once again find themselves just one step away from victory at 3-2 match point. Map 6 would be Blizzard World, and it started off well for Vancouver as they dominated the opening exchanges, managing to get the first picks onto Rascal. But then came a pivotal moment with 2 minutes remaining at their attack, the first point. The Shock were grabbed as the Titans looked to engage, when Super hit a massive counter shatter that resulted in a sextuple kill, which looked like a very major and significant turning point in the series. By all means, the rest of the map proved a slog for San Francisco, just managing to reach the final section in overtime, after a clutch few moments from Sinatra, who tore apart his opponents with his Zarya. But it was Vancouver who got the last laugh of this attack, stopping them to just before the end, meaning this map would have to have a definitive result one way or another. All the pressure, once again, was on the Titans, and initially they also struggled to take the first point for a couple of minutes, till it finally looked like they would, as they took out 4 members of the Shock, leaving just Sinatra and Rascal, as Aces themselves still had 4 remaining. But in the most clutch moments of the entire series, a San Francisco pair on the back of a Graviton, who extraordinarily managed to turn the fight around and prevent the point from falling, in a moment that just seemed to tell you it was going to be their day. They did manage to eventually take the point with 30 seconds left, but 3 minutes later, and after a lost teamfight, Vancouver found themselves scrambling towards the point for what looked like to be the final teamfight. The Shock effectively took them out one by one, as Vancouver's last-ditch attack was ended, therefore confirming the 4-2 series win, and thus victory for San Francisco in the Stage 2 final, that finally ended the Titans' unbeaten run. Finally saw the Shock earn the title of the best team in the league, with their first victory over Vancouver, arguably one they would continue to hold till the playoffs. The 4th Shock vs Titans series was perhaps the least hyped up contest of this growing rivalry, given it was at the end of this regular season, with little on the line aside from pride. That said, it produced yet another fantastic display of offensive Overwatch, which both of these sides have become known for. Unsurprisingly, it was yet another close back and forth series that ended up going all 5 maps. However, you'd have to say that as this series went on, it looked to be heading more and more in San Francisco's favour, which resulted in them winning in the crucial 5th map on the back of a convincing control round at the end, which reflected the team's greater performances in Stage 4 as they'd adjusted better to 2-2-2 roll-log. Whereas the Titans still looked to be finding their feet, earlier even losing to the Justice to finish the stage for the first time with multiple defeats. As I mentioned before, with this also being the final week of regular season action for Season 2 of the Overwatch League at the LA Valiant homestand, it's hard to say how seriously the team prepared for it. But what it did highlight was that we're heading into the playoffs, the Shock certainly looked the stronger and further prepared, as well as tying up this rivalry now at 2-2 after back-to-back victories for San Francisco. So, as Sunday approaches, we can see that this matchup has been played 4 times and is currently split at 2 wins apiece, with the 5th and final matchup fittingly having everything on the line for both of these squads. Early on in the Age of Goats, it was the Titans who held the edge and stamped their authority over San Francisco and the rest of the league in Stage 1, just as they had done over all the opposition they'd faced for the previous 12 months, but had earned them such a reputation whilst unbeaten, until that streak was finally ended in the Stage 2 finals against the Shock. After the mid-season break, however, as the meta started to innovate and shift away from 3-3, eventually moving into the Stage 4 era of 2-2-2 roll-lock, it appears to have been San Francisco who have better adjusted to these major changes, being the only side of these two to make the Stage 3 final, coming into these playoffs with a massive amount of momentum after their triumph over Vancouver in Stage 4, as well as finishing that Stage 7-0. It's at the conclusion of the playoffs, we can see it was Vancouver who got the job done more cleanly and made it to the grand finals from the winners bracket, whereas the Shock had to bounce back from an early setback to fight their way all the way through the losers bracket to get there. But with them doing this without dropping even a single map, perhaps they are the side in greater form. This is a very tough contest to call, and one that for just a bit I'm going to hold off my prediction for. However, there are some certainties that this series will produce, with one being that as usual, it should be very close and competitive. In the end though, the team who comes out on top will be the one who in the clutch moments turns up on more occasions. Right now, guessing which team that will end up being is an incredibly tough call to make, and one which we'll have to wait to find out the answer to until this Sunday. But on that note, I'm going to end this video on this rivalry between the Vancouver Titans and San Francisco Shock here, and I'd like to thank you for watching. Be sure to keep an eye out for the other videos I have planned for the rest of this week, so if you enjoyed and don't want to miss out, please like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter for this continuing competitive Overwatch coverage and content. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.